This morning I was really tested. Really tested. So we're preparing. Actually, we've already written in our journal, and I went ahead and recorded it earlier, and wouldn't you know it, I lost the information. So that was my first test, But luckily, I had everything written down already, and I was just going to give you a synopsis of what I wrote about this morning. So, it's the lesson that I didn't know I was going to write about, and that's the thing about journaling that I just want to share is that make it organic and make it as authentic as possible. So, this is me sharing the process of journaling in real time. By the way, thank you for clicking on and for checking out the video, which is a daily dose of goodness. And sometimes the lessons come and you're like, oh my goodness, this is such a test. But at the end of the day, something really good comes out of it. So this is how this went. So this morning when I woke up, I looked out the window and I noticed that it was very foggy, kind of like a London fog type of thing. And my location is in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, and when it's usually very sunny and bright, and but not this morning. Last couple of days it's been pretty cloudy, lots of rain, not a whole lot of sun. So, that can tamper with your mood sometimes, especially if you're used to being around sun a lot. So, anyway, I just allowed my mind, as usual, to just observe and just take in everything that I could see. And as I was looking out the window, I heard what sounded like a sprinkler system. And the thought that came to me was, why does my neighbor have on his sprinkler system and it rained last night? He planted some grass, and yeah, of course, it's important for new grass or any kind of plant that you have to water it. But I'm thinking, it just rained. Why is that necessary? Well, I observed a little bit more, and wouldn't you know it, the sprinkler system, and I put sprinkler system in quotes, was mine. That was the first lesson that I wrote down. That sometimes we're thinking that the issue belongs to somebody else when in fact it is your own issue that you need to deal with. So that was an observation that I wrote down. Where typically I will take a look at my own situation first, but this morning I didn't think that issue was going to be mine. I thought maybe it was my neighbor's issue, but in fact that was mine. That's the first lesson. And guess what? I was able to write that down. So that's the thing about journaling, that you can take real life examples and you can document it so that you can go back and review it, and it can bring different types of lessons to you, or even if somebody gets a chance to read your story, because this is part of your story. This is you developing a story of your life experience and how you take those stories and allow it to present different lessons, like learning and teachable moments. So I thought that the lesson was going to stop there. No, there was more. All right, so I decided to get closer to my quote unquote sprinkler system, and when I noticed it, my pipe, my pipe burst. And the reason for that happening is I have a beautiful, what we call poor man's orchid, and I don't know what the proper name is, but it's a tree that has, and I'll probably put a picture here so you can see, smells, has an awesome fragrance, just really beautiful, and it's starting to bloom now. But guess what? My tree also sent up a really fat root that rooted up the pipe, and it caused tension on the pipe. And guess what? The thing burst at this point. That's the second lesson. And the second lesson is tension, resistance, and release. I wrote that down here in my book. Tension, resistance, and release. And that was another message. Oh my gosh, us humans sometimes build up tension on the inside from unforgiveness, from jealousy, from um, pent up emotions, and that build up over time causes stress, and stress over time there's going to be some sort of release, except just like the release, it starts to overflow. But for us as humans, if we hold in tension and if we hold that in, there's going to be some sort of resistance. It's going to cause tension in our relationships. It's going to cause tension in days. Like we'll see a sunny day. It's sunny. Everybody else sees a sunny day and all you can see is fog. Just fog and doom and gloom because you're carrying, or we're carrying, on unforgiveness, we're carrying jealousy, we're carrying the weight on our shoulders, the stress of not being able to resolve or to figure out some sort of puzzle. Or sometimes we're just not sharing how we feel. Maybe in our relationship we're not happy about something, and so rather than share it and communicate it, we hold it in as, and it becomes tension. But then on the inside, we really want the freedom to be able to communicate, and then that causes some resistance, i.e., stress. And then over time, we need to release. So we backfire and we have an argument and we have an outburst, or we start to get a dis-ease in our body, which creates disease. So I'm writing all of this down as a reminder to say that sometimes there is tension building where we're not seeing it yet, we're not hearing it yet, and we're not aware of it. But eventually, over time, if it's not observed and dealt with, it can cause tension, break. It can literally break, and then it can release and spew out, in this case, the water. In other cases, it can spew out some kind of disease, and it can just bring us down to a point where now we have to deal with the problem. It's a full-on blown problem. So in my journal this morning, it allowed me to deal with the discomfort, because sometimes you can feel like a tension in your body, and sometimes you're not really aware of what's going on. But in writing in your journal, it allows you to really deal and release in writing exactly what's going on. If there's something that you need to talk to about somebody, talk to a loved one, a family member, a friend, a boss, a co-worker, a contractor, no, it doesn't matter who it is, that sometimes we just need to deal with that. So guess what? That's an opportunity to write that down, to say, to make a pledge to yourself that, you know what, I'm going to deal with this particular situation to prevent the outcome of it being just a full-on blown out outburst, breakage. I'm going to avoid all of that. So, as they say, pressure bust pipe in Jamaica. They probably say it elsewhere. Translation, pressure over time will eventually burst the pipe. So for today's message, it's the message I never knew that would come out in writing in your journal. Sometimes you'll just begin with an open page, and then you start to write. And then something that you weren't aware is there comes to your spirit, comes to the surface, and you can write that down. So in the end, you can just be grateful and just write how grateful you are for the process of being able to have this one on one time with yourself, and then to allow the spirit within to speak to you and to bring up these lessons, and then to be able to share or to make some sort of change. And so I'm really grateful to be able to journal and to have this intimate moment with myself and to share with you, to also encourage you to allow whatever is heavy on your mind, on your heart, to put it down on paper and to allow it to be therapeutic. Allow it to be your teacher and allow it to do the magic that sometimes happens when pen meets paper. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you found today's talk valuable. I hope that in your process of journaling that you too would have found something that's going to help you throughout the day and to enhance your life and perhaps to help and encourage someone else. If you found some value in today's uh, journal entry and journal talk, anecdote, I do ask that you leave me a comment and give the video a like. And until we connect again, you have yourself a beautiful day and keep on writing. Until next time, one love, one big love.